Okay, class, let's try to finish this skull out. All right, so the next is going to be the maxilla. The maxilla is your upper jaw bone, The maxillary sinus, we'll go to that picture again, is that hollow space. There's your maxillary sinuses. Okay. The palatine process of the maxilla is the next one. The palatine process of the maxilla is the part of the maxilla that contributes to your hard palate. Now let me see if I can't find that. The part of the maxilla that contributes to your hard palate. So I need to find a picture. Here we are. Good picture there. All right. If you put your tongue at the top of the mouth, you have a hard palate. Then behind that, you have a soft palate. The hard palate is made up of two bones. The anterior 2/3 of the hard palate is made of what we call the palatine process of the maxilla. The palatine process of the maxilla. Okay? That makes up that. All right. Let me just go on and finish the palatine bone right there. So look at that. Palatine bone. The posterior 1/3 is the palatine bone. So we finished it. So your hard palate, the anterior 2/3 is the palatine process of the maxilla, and the posterior 1/3 is the palatine bone. So that knocks out the hard palate. Okay. The alveolar fossa is no more than where your teeth, that's your teeth socket. That's your tooth socket. Make it quick. The infraorbital foramen, let's go here. I'm going to go to a front picture. Let's go to a front picture. Okay. The infraorbital foramen is this right here. It brings out nerves, blood supply and everything to your cheek, right up in the front of your cheek by the nose. That's that hole there. All right. So now we go to the zygomatic bone, known as the zygoma also. Here's the zygomatic bone right there. That's your cheekbone right there. Here is the zygomatic arch. Okay, let me show you what the arch is. I'm going to come to this one. Now, it's not a good one. See if I can find something here. Okay, right there. Okay. The zygomatic, you have a muscle called the temporalis muscle that's going to come down from here, be attached to right here, and come down and attach to this condylar process, this car right here, to the carotid process of the mandible, and it pulls the jaw up. Well, to get there, it needs to go under this bridge right here, and this bridge here, the muscle goes underneath that bridge. Okay, so right here, this is the zygomatic process of the temporal bone articulating with the temporal process of the zygoma. It's kind of right there. These two bones form the zygomatic arch. These two bones form the zygomatic arch. So the zygomatic arch is not just formed by the zygoma. It's formed by both the zygoma or zygomatic bone and this bone right here. Okay, this portion of the temporal bone. All right. So that then brings us to the lacrimal bone. Okay, the lacrimal bone is the smallest bone in your head, and that's it right there. It's a little hole in that. That's where the lacrimal canal. So in other words, with the eyes, you form tears over here, and it goes across and goes into the nose. We'll do that in respiratory. So the lacrimal bone is the smallest bone in your head. It has the lacrimal canal to get your secretions, your tears, and really not just your tears, the water moving across the eyeball to clean it. The nasal bone, that's it right there, the bridge of the nose bone. The vomer is an independent bone that forms part of the bony nasal. See, that was the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid. Here's the vomer here, and I want to show you that on a side view. Let's see what we got there. Not that one. I need a side view of the bony nasal septum. Let's look for one. A side view of the bony nasal septum. What do we have here? Okay, here we are. Something. This right here is the bony nasal septum. Okay. Right here is the inferior nasal concha, and I still don't have that bone I want right there. Okay, this is the middle. The vomer, can't get to it. That vomer, right, is this bone here. This would be the only way I can do it. Looks like. Okay, class, what you can see, here's this vomer right here. See, here's the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid, which would be the superior aspect of the bony nasal septum, and down underneath that is the vomer bone. And here's the palatine and the palatine process of the maxilla. Okay, so that's the vomer right there. But you would identify it here also. That's it right up in there, that vomer. Okay, where are we now? Okay, now we're looking at the mandible. So now we want to go to the mandible. So let's find that. Okay. Here's the mandible. Okay, the mandible has three major regions. The branch, which is called the ramus, the angle, and the body, which is the heaviest. The body, the angle, and the ramus. Okay. The mandibular condyles is this right here. That's what articulates, that forms the TM joint. Remember the mandibular fossa and the temporal bone? So that articulates right there. The coronoid process right here, that's where that muscle I mentioned, temporalis, is going to come down there and pull up on it. The alveolar fossa, where the teeth are. Mental foramen, which is a whole mental artery, nerve, and so forth. Okay. So those are the key thing right there. We're not going to worry about the mandibular symphysis. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. All right.